After 10 years of living in China, I feel very comfortable there. It really is like a second home to me now. And so it's sometimes hard for me to remember just how new, exotic, and different China once felt to me. But it certainly did, particularly in my first year, in 2012, when I lived in Anqing, Anhui. I remember the day I arrived, at the very end of August. It was really hot and humid. The other foreign teacher and I were picked up from the airport and taken to our rooms. After dropping our bags, we quickly went downstairs to buy some water from the small shop across the road. We bought 3 3-litre bottles each. Each bottle cost 9 kwai, which I recall thinking seemed a little expensive. Remember, this was 2012. We carried the water back up the many flights of stairs and went into our rooms. A moment later, the other foreign teacher came running into my room, shouting, "Don't drink it! Don't drink it! It's not water!" His mouth was burning, and he ran to the sink to wash it out. We examined the bottles and concluded that we must have accidentally bought some sort of cleaning fluid. However, we were wrong. Later, with the help of some local friends, we worked out that we had actually bought 18 litres of very cheap baijiu. I often wonder what that shopkeeper must have thought of us. The 2 new foreign teachers buying 18 litres of cheap baijiu as soon as they arrived in the city. I lived very close to Beijing, a street which has almost nothing except restaurants and takeaways. One day, I was looking for something to eat on Beijing, and I decided on a place that served noodles. When the noodles came, they tasted amazing. I had ordered the now famous Anqing Qiaomian. I ate Qiaomian on Beijing almost every day for lunch, the whole year that I lived there. In 2012, 1 plate of Qiaomian cost 4 kwai. I used to have an extra egg, so I paid 5 kwai. But for me, Beijing wasn't just a place to conveniently get great food. Like most British young men of my generation, my social life in the UK was built around going out to pubs and nightclubs. In 2012, Anqing had nothing like the kind of nightlife we had in the UK. At first, I remember finding this strange. It seemed like there wasn't much to do for fun in the evenings. But I soon realised that Chinese young people loved going out in the evening just as much as British young people. The difference was that their socialising centred around food. And so on the weekends, I'd often go to Beijing with friends to enjoy Chinese-style nightlife, having cold beers whilst eating barbecue at the side of the road, or going to a dapaidang and ordering loads of dishes to share. My friends and I would often stay on Beijing late into the night, eating, drinking, and laughing loudly. Have you ever been to Beijing in Anqing? If so, what's your favourite place to eat there? Let me know in the comments. One day, I was walking with a friend, and we passed a small unit where a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner worked. I remember jokingly saying that I bet he is a martial arts master. I made this joke as I really like old martial arts films, and one of the tropes in such films is that the master is never a big, muscly guy, but a small, unassuming older man. Well, one day I went to see him, and it turned out he really was a martial arts master. He had coached local wushu teams, and had photos from competitions they'd won hung on his wall. I asked him if he could teach me, and he agreed. We went to the riverfront in the mornings, and he taught me wushu weapons, which was really fun. Unfortunately, as he worked very long hours, the only time he had free to train was at 6 a.m. This was a bit too early for me, and so after a few classes with him, I stopped. I regret that, as it would have been great to learn more from him, but it was still an amazing experience. This is just one of many examples of Anqing locals being friendly and helpful. I've found people across China to be very kind and welcoming, but something notable about Anqing people is how down-to-earth and easygoing they are. Being a foreigner in China makes you stick out, and sometimes people who have never met foreigners before may be worried about how they should act. But this doesn't seem to bother Anqing people very much. That wushu master had probably never met a foreigner before, but it didn't appear to faze him at all. For the most part, he seemed to treat me like any other student. I've received so much help and kindness from people across China that it would take a whole series of videos to talk about. But the friendliness and support I received from easygoing Anqing people in my first year in China will always stand out in my mind. Anqing is not a famous city, like Beijing or Shanghai, but it is a really special place to me, and I look forward to my next trip there. 下次再见。